Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night. This is the devil. Got lots of devil here.
No, I think we'll back here. He's down.
We're going to call the angels tonight. The angels and the devils. That's right. It's Easter. It's Passover. So Sunday's the resurrection, baby. I've already been eating the Cadbury eggs. And man, these lemon Kit Kats, lemon crisp. I don't normally care.
Oh no, those are good. I've had those.
Those are good. I was like, damn, those lemon crisp Kit Kats are good. And I'm not normally Kit Kats are okay, but they don't like excite me like a Reese's or something. But
let me let this demon dog out real quick. I'll be right back. I'm not leaving the room. He's just howling and barking.
Whatever you got to do. Yeah, get out of here, you fiendish dog.
Come on,
yeah. But anyway, you're listening to United Public Radio 107.7, New Orleans. Johann, say your name for everyone.
Johann Tetreault.
I already messed it up again. I'm terrible.
It's okay. It's all right.
Johann. It's
Johann.
Not I'm just stupid sometimes. Right?
It's okay.
A dumb genius. But anywho, as everybody knows, the main reason we do this show, for the longest time, I was calling you Johnny Zotar when I know I've seen that name on Facebook before. So I was like, Johnny Zotar. So you are Johnny Zotar.
That is true. I really am.
That's your Elias.
The last of the three, want to call us crust punkers? Crust punk. It was me, Gigi Allen, and El Duce. And I'm the only one that's alive.
Man, Gigi Allen, that's something to get into. God, that's some crazy.
I got stories about him that blow your mind away.
Yeah. I'm glad you're in Tampa, man. It's hard to meet anyone here that's like can be a friend or something. It's so weird here. In Georgia, I had like a million friends, but here, I don't know. It's just weird. It's like another planet or something. Very weird. Plus, Florida, it's like you meet someone, it's like 10 hours to get to wherever they're at or something from the the state shaped like a Sasquatch penis. But anyway, we're about to get started. It's great to have you here. And I love this, man. Talking music, gonna play some music, UFOs and secret space, Gigi Allen, and we got a Charles Manson weirdo story. So this just gets better and better and better. But let me plug some buddies of mine that are on Kickstarter. See, I recently have a Kickstarter addiction, and I probably need to go to therapy for comic
They have a 12-step for that, I'm sure, somewhere.
Dude, don't go there. I'm telling you. I mean, go there, but it's bad. It's like my new crack. And anyway, right now they did a G.I. Joe compendium of all the Marvel issues, like this big old $350 box set of all the G.I. Joe Marvel. And I did that a while back. But now the Transformers compendium sets there of all the Marvel American and UK issues, and that's about $350. But man, it goes up to like $600 or something. I got the.
Did you say $350?
Yes, it's like a giant crazy box set of all the, like these hardback giant compendiums that are like hard. You look at it, it's like it is Optimus Prime. Like it's the craziest thing. But its own Kickstarter, and that is one that I'm going to check out. But anyway, some other ones, Dr. Zomba's Ghostly Tales. And that ends April 21st. That's like a Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side kind of comic book with different stories. There's this one Shockwave magazine this dude does in the UK that's like art, but he has all this Nosferatu stories in every one of his comics, and they're like, I guess, stories of stuff like that. But Shockwave, you can find that under New SHOK Wave Spring 2025. Golden Apple Comics has a guy that works there doing Not Yet, a comic book project. Looks like some weird quantum realms craziness. A dude coming up, Kevin Laporte, on the show in June, is doing a new comic series for Inverse Press called Gothic Horror Team Up. Frankenstein's Monster and Cthulhu. And basically you can look and check it out, and it's Frankenstein swimming around with Cthulhu. It looks real dark and sinister, but he's coming on, and he's up in Alabama and has this comic book company, but he said the next one coming out is going to have Dracula and some up, like he does a weird team up. So it's called Gothic Horror Team Up, Frankenstein's Monster and Cthulhu. And then these other UK
kind of like the League of Gentlemen, only with bad guys.
Yeah, and then Vampiress, Bad Girls of Horror. That's like some old, like a comic book company that kind of reprints old stuff from back in the days. They got a lot of cool stuff. Now, here's a guy actually won a contest on here. He did a raffle for a sketch. He's doing a comic called "There's an Alien in My Toilet," and it's kind of like funny for kids and adults. Duty's on the run. Duty the alien. And let's see, Brides. That's kind of Frankenstein's monster and Dracula's monster. It's got boobs in it. Paul Bunyan versus Dracula, first issue. That's kind of weird. Another one, Drive-In Kings of 1977. That's like a weird Texas Chainsaw Massacre crazy comic that looks crazy about drive-ins and like Leatherface kind of stuff. Another one Kevin's doing is Blazing Blade of Frankenstein. It's kind of like sword and sorcery, but Frankenstein. I'm almost done. And then these dudes, I think they're Latino dudes, are doing this cool Western kind of in space comic called Sonic Saturn, a tale from the far flung future. And the Sonic character has like a Saturn helmet head, and it looks really weird. There's a lot of weird stuff on here. Death Blade, The Awakenings, about a Navy SEAL that awakens ancient powers like in a Mayan temple. Like there's a lot of crazy creativity going on here that's just nuts. And I need to take a break from it before I go broke. But anyway, especially that Transformers, that's deadly.
But still, though, I mean, that's kind of cool because there were how many comics is that? Is that from all the ones from the 80s? The Transformers?
Yeah, it's all. Go to the page and look. It goes. Yeah, it's even the one from the UK.
That's got to be like a Bible. That's got to be thick.
Dude. It's heavy, like the G.I. Joe one. I needed help to carry. It's like really? The Ark of the Covenant. Like it's like four giant heavy ass. They're releasing them on Amazon too. They're like 75 a piece, but you get all the box set, and then these things go up to about $3 million or more in just pledges. So you get these special little gifts that get unlocked stretch goals that you normally would not get anywhere else that come with it. So there's like all kinds of weird stuff. But anyway,
my friend did that with a game on a Kickstarter kind of thing, and it might have been Kickstarter too. I'm not sure, but $600 worth of Marvel, this Marvel game we play. It's a cooperative game where you play a team of superheroes against a villain or villains that you choose. It's pretty badass.
Who the hell is Eric?
Oh, Eric is my friend from work. He's not going to pop in.
Okay.
He's just watching.
It looked like his camera's messed up and like he just floated from his chair to the ceiling. Like his camera's really weird.
His cell phone sitting on there.
It looks like he just like levitated or something. It's like what the hell is happening? It's like this is really getting paranormal fast. Yeah. But yeah, man, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Johnny Zotar, just give us a little breakdown for our audience. And any links or anything.
Johann, oh God, already I'm nervous. No, just kidding. Lord, well, I've been a musician since I was 13 years old. My dad was in the Army, Master Sergeant, worked on the Pershing 2 missile system. So I've seen a lot of stuff, but I lived on Redstone Arsenal for most of my childhood, from 1978 until 1984. At 14, your childhood's over. No, seriously, it was over. Then we moved here, and Lordy Lord.
And so where were you born? What state?
I was born in Mosbach, Germany.
Oh, wow. And I was born in Georgia and ended up down here after my dad died. My mom decided to come here, and we all came here. It's like, oh, Florida. Now I'm like, oh, it's hot. I'm dying. But yeah, I'm up here in Graceville, which is like Pleasantville, and it's really annoying. There's a Bible college that just pisses me off. It lives across from us, and they would probably have heart attacks if they knew the show was happening across the street from them, but they don't know.
Yeah. The Church of What?
They ripped down a whole Native American sacred site, and they're putting sports over it, like where a massacre happened. I love that.
What's different than that? Then shouldn't say it. I'm not going to say it.
But yeah,
that's ISIS. That's what ISIS does.
Yeah,
once again, extremist religions getting in there and destroying other people's religions.
It's a place called Heritage Trail, and like the Spanish monks came here and got in a war with the natives because one of the natives refused to not have more than one wife. They made him try to have one, so a big bloodbath happened trying to convert them. And it's like I called it Little House on the Prairie. It's like all these old houses some dude brought in as a historical place, but they burned it to the ground, and then they're putting sports over it. It's crazy. But well, tell us that Charles Manson story. As we know, my
that's a good one.
The Hairy Man book is Bobby Beausoleil, or a Bigfoot art that's really haunting.
So I went over to. I was hanging out with my Ben Meyer, and we wanted to go over to a friend of ours, Ken Carnick's house, and I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go." Went over there, and he's talking on the phone, and I'm like, "Oh, well, what's going on here?" He's just talking on the phone, and he said, "Johann, here, grab the phone." And I'm like, "Why?" He says, "You probably want to talk to this guy." I'm like, "Who is it?" He handed me the phone. Says, as I'm saying, "Hello, who is this?" And Ken Carnick said, "That's Charles Manson." I'm like, "Oh." I started talking to him and had this real long conversation with him, and he was totally level-headed, and he was a really good guy. It sounds strange and it's evil for me to say so. I've had a number of people that unfriended me, blocked me because of what I said, but he told me that he was not guilty. Of course, they all say they're not guilty, but he wasn't there. He's been a musician. The guys in the Beach Boys, they were friends of his, and he said he had nothing to do with it.
What's all the weird MK Ultra, Charles? There's so much weird stuff about that I've seen over the years.
MK
Ultra, like some weird government program that made assassins or something. Just weird stuff,
Yeah, MK Ultra was supposedly the ones that made the secret space program.
Yeah. Well, there's something about MK Ultra and like assassins and stuff too, like weird programming that makes you like killers for the government or something. It's got many different levels.
I forget what the actual project name was, but it was CIA was conducting it. They may still be ongoing with it, but it was also involved with the same project that did remote viewing. They essentially what they were looking for were telepathic individuals that could enter people's dreams and kill them while they were asleep.
Dreamscape.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And yeah, that's another one. David Cronenberg, Scanners. And well, that's a wild Charles Manson story just to have him on the phone like that. That's
it was crazy. I never would have believed it. I mean, in 1,000 years, I would never expect.
Well, let's talk about G.G. Allen a little bit. That's someone that most people don't know who that is at all. So when I bring him up, it's not someone I'm like into heavily, but I've seen that documentary. I watched it with a bunch of my drug friends when I used to deal drugs a million years ago, and I didn't know what it was, but it was one of the craziest things. And I was like, I'm never going to watch this again, so I'm going to watch it now.
I can tell you this. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
There's two different G.G. Allens. One that you saw on stage, the one that was off stage. The guy that was off stage never wasn't like that at all. I was still friends. I'm still friends to this day with his brother Merle, the Murder Junkies. Matter of fact, they will be touring in August. The new singer, Brandon Fergus, he's a good friend of mine. Also, he lives in St. Pete, right across the bay over here. We did a bunch of shows with them, with the Murder Junkies, and I got friends with Merle, and just. I'll be honest with you, it was a blur. But the thing that my little 2 cents there is that when he did the country album, a lot of people don't know he recorded that here in Tampa. His girlfriend at the time, oh God, I forgot her name. She was friends of mine, and man, it's just crazy the people you run into in Tampa Bay, just casually running into them.
So was G.G. Allen, from what I remember from the documentary, it was like some really gross kind of stuff. I mean, was that part of it always, like poop and sperm and weird?
No. Believe it or not, there's a lot of stuff that he did where he actually sounded really good. He was a really good singer. That's the thing that's odd. He was a really, really good singer. But they never caught on. No matter what he did, no matter how they did it, it would not catch on. So he had to go. I think he kind of lost his mind.
And I knew a musician like that in Savannah. And he's passed recently as well. Uh, a guy named Keith Cazell, amazing artist. I mean, the dude was the band that he was in, Gam. They did covers of King Crimson. That I closed my eyes. I thought I was listening to the actual album. They were that good. But he did some nutsy things on stage. I mean, done diving into the mosh pit and just crazy antics on stage. But off stage, he was like the most mellowest dude. The complete night and day contrast, like you're talking about there.
Night and day. Yep.
Yeah.
El Duce was the same way. If you know who he was, the Mentors. Guy giving his shirt off his back.
I don't know.
Definitely good to talk to someone about different kinds of music that's not the ordinary kind of music. Music nowadays, the new stuff that comes out is just like all the same garbage. And then a lot of the stuff.
Guys that I have a couple of guys watching from work. You can ask any of them. They do not like the music I pick at work sometimes. I even got yelled at by one of the guys. I mean, he was just playing, but because I went halfway through a Rush song to play something else for another guy because we were coming towards the end of our shift and we were talking about music. I'm like, oh, let me just play it for you, and I just interrupted Rush's YYZ. Yeah, sorry, Neil.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
that's blasphemous.
It's a mortal sin, but I had to commit it. We had 15 minutes, and the song that I wanted to play for the guy that we were talking about was Inagata de Vida, and the runtime on that is 17.5. So I had to get it on before the shift ended.
Have you ever heard the Slayer version of Inagata de Vida?
No, I have not. No.
Oh my God.
Really?
Oh my God is all I got to say.
I'm to check it out.
Have you seen or heard the lost 19-minute and 5-second version?
No.
I think if you buy the new CD, it comes with like one of those embedded like videos. You can see the video, and then they also have the song. Like they have the original album remastered, and then it's like an extra add-on. So like when they do remaster, sometimes they put alternate cuts of songs. They got the 19-minute one on there, and it's not much different, but it's
That's
2
funny.
minutes more.
I find old versions of music I did, and then I found. Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but I thought it dawned on me. I'm also a filmmaker. I've made 5 movies that went pretty good. That did pretty good, and one of them I shot at the Cupid Club in Ybor City. You know that. I don't know if you ever watched that Ghost Hunter show that was on Sci-Fi.
Yes, I
Remember
did.
the plumber guy?
Yes.
What was the last show they did? That was at the Cuban Club. You want to know why? I got to tell you that he said his exact words were, with him on the air, he just tore his thing off. He said, F this, I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Because the stuff at the Cuban Club, it's really haunted. Yeah. I mean, that place is the most haunted place I've ever been in my life. And I shot a movie there, and oddly enough, the stuff that was spooky, I actually took out of the cut.
Oh shit! Wow.
Because in a horror movie, I'm like, oh, maybe you'd want that. I'm like, you know what? No.
Well, I mean, but sometimes more is less, or less is more, whatever the phrase is. And Steven Spielberg didn't realize this while he was having trouble with Bruce. Bruce was the shark that they named, the mechanical shark they named on the set for Jaws, and they could never get it to work because the internal circuits required all kinds of grease and lithiums and things that sea and salt water just wicked away as soon as they submerged the damn thing. Plus, they made it out of styrofoam, which once it underwater, it gained like 800 pounds. So they could barely ever have it working. But when it did work, it's a pretty phenomenal special effect. But the music was the shark, and that was, in most horror movies, you don't see the killer until like the last 2 or 3 people getting killed. And that's how this movie is. The last 2 or 3 people are the guys who physically go, shit, there it is. And it's 27 feet long.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So what genre are your movies? I know they're like exploitation or horror. I mean, they're kind of like, are they gory? I mean, from what I saw.
No, it's I got offended when somebody called it murder porn. And I said, any Friday the 13th movies you got have more sex, more nudity than any of my movies. So what are you talking about? It's Friday the 13th. Is that like horror? Or
plenty of nudity in that one, yeah, hell yeah, and sex. Kevin Bacon gets killed just moments after he's had sex.
it's all strange, man. And I'm like, I got maybe 2 scenes of new chicks, and that Homicidal Maniac 2, I went overboard. I really went overboard with Homicidal Maniac 2. Really went overboard.
Are you familiar with a little movie called A Clockwork Orange?
Of course. Well, they're remaking it.
Oh gosh, I hope they do a good job. I have studied that book.
Come on, what remake has been good?
I hope they do a good job. I'm a fan of the original Kubrick version, although he only did the American book version, which only has 20 chapters. But anyway, it fought long and hard just to stay R-rated in America, and in England it was considered pornography.
Yeah,
the amount of nudity that it had, and the few near rape scenes that were there.
It's only in America where my movies caught any flack. Overseas, but the thing is that I sold the B movie world. I sold literally everybody who buys B movies bought the movies, and then it was done. And so even both companies that publish my movies, they both went out of business because people just don't buy DVDs anymore. And I got to ask that, who has a DVD player? And I went around asking people, just random friends of mine, hey, do you have a DVD player? No, you don't have a DVD player. No, you don't have a DVD player. No, I just stream everything. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, guess what? I have a backup system called DVD and Blu-ray. So if, like, let's just say the internet exploded tomorrow, I can still watch television.
Oh man, yeah.
I have TV shows. I have movies. I have over 900 titles on DVD and Blu-ray. So I'm almost a Blockbuster. I don't have multiple copies of the same thing, but okay, on Star Wars and Star Trek maybe. But other things, I have one copy of everything. So I can keep myself entertained for 900 days.
I like horror movies a lot, and it depends. I like things a little bit more subtle, creature features, but I mean some of those things that are over the top. Like for instance, I know David Howard Thornton, the guy that plays the Terrifier clown. I love those movies, but for me, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to watch. I'll watch it again, maybe. I'm sure I'll see it more than once. But man, some of this stuff is brutal. It is brutal. Some of the most brutal I've ever seen. And as a kid, I was stunted by that Toxic Avenger scene where they run over the kids' heads.
Lloyd is the one that talked me into getting into movies.
Lloyd
Kaufman is the one that talked me into getting into making movies.
Oh, cool.
I saw him at a convention in Orlando. I said, hey, man, I'd love to get some of my music on there. He said, well, you ever thought about making your own and then put your own music in there? I'm like, no, I can't do that. So he gave me this book called Make Your Own Damn Movie. I got it sitting up there.
Nice.
He gave it to me. He just said, here. And I'm like, why would you give me something? And he said, because, I don't know, you look like you have potential. You came with me and talked to me. He said, nobody comes up to me and talks to me. They're all afraid of me. I'm like, okay.
That's cool, though.
Lloyd is a really good guy.
I enjoy those movies, but that one where they run over the kids' heads in the car, and squish his head. I saw it as a kid, and it traumatized me. But I watched it again.
That scene.
I enjoyed it a lot more. But I want to see the new one.
Jeff, I have a funny story about that Camaro running over the kid on the bike's head scene. That inspired me for one of the. I have a degree in video, Johann, from Savannah College of Art and Design, so I know how to make videos, and I know a little bit about cinema as well. I took some cinematography classes in Connecticut, so I love movies and TV shows. Anyway, that aside, I had created this kind of like comic book character for my final video project, and he has like these special powers. He can pull like medieval weapons off of his shirt when it's activated. And I can tell you more about that later, but basically like nunchucks and tonfas and hammers and, all kinds of blunt weapons, right? So the guy he fights at the end, he kills with one of his war hammers and he hits him in the head and smashes his head wide open. And I'm like, before I commit to this, I better do a test to make sure I can even do that kind of special effect. So my roommates and I, we went to the grocery store and we bought all kinds of like head-shaped fruit, including apples, oranges, coconuts, all kinds of melons, watermelon, cantaloupe, honey, everything we could get our hands on was melon shaped. And the one that worked best was the not the honey, the one that's brown and orange inside was too small. So the one that was green and like kind of green, yeah, that one, the green one. I think it's whatever it is. Anyway, we cored it like a pumpkin. I cut just the sliver off the top, got the guts out of it, and we filled it with white cauliflower and red Caro syrup that we tinted like as blood. And then we put the cap back on and put like railroad ties so it wouldn't come off, and kind of so it sealed back on. And then we put a wig on it and a fake like dummy body like unconscious on the ground. And my roommate is 6'5", 285, 300, big dude. And the hammer is like a 4 or 5 pound metal hammer that's professionally made. And he hits this thing 3 times, and I'm capturing this on videotape. And the third one, it goes and cracks open, and the cauliflower falls out into the grass, and then all the blood goes and pours right over it. And I'm like, we weren't recording sound, so I'm like, holy crap, this is cool as shit.
It's funny you say that because
no, wait, it gets even better. So I take that after we capture that, I take that footage, and I think we were using Panasonic at that point, M2, a professional type of tape. And I took it to class and I played it for the senior class. And all the girls, as soon as they saw it, they went, ew! And I was like, I'm done. And I went and sat down. And my teacher said, no. You come back up here for a review. We want to review this. I'm like, I don't need to review anything, sir. I got my reaction. I don't need you to say shit about this. It did what I wanted it to do. And then they had to talk about it. But that was kind of cool.
And definitely, where can people find your movies at? I mean, where can they look?
They're not available. The sleazebox.com went out of business. Before that, it was I forgot the name of the company. But both companies went out of business, and I've always owned the rights to them. It's Homicidal Maniac 1, Homicidal Maniac 2, the Demon Club, the Demon House, and Horny as Hell for Evil.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, and well, let's get to what we're here about, which is many things, but UFOs and secret space. We've been doing this for 17 or more years. I count the audio days. I used to do this with Jeremy Vanny back in the day when there was no sound in the little chat rooms and stuff. So those years count. And basically, I had my own personal UFO encounters, and I don't want to tell those stories. You can listen to the show and hear them a million times, but the main reason we're here is because I saw weird UFO stuff with multiple witnesses, and I'll never, ever, ever forget it. And I've seen it under different states of consciousness, from completely sober to partying my ass off. But there's always someone else that sees it with you. And one of the things that I think that's maybe attracted it to me was suffering. Testicular cancer, losing a nut at 17. That's a lot of suffering. I jokingly say Odin's meatball, and not to compare myself to Odin or anything like that. And I would think an eye's a little worse, but a meatball sucks for sure. But the suffering, and we've talked about that, about trauma and that, like in in-depth, crazy discussions with people like professionals and stuff. And somehow I think trauma and the shamans and stuff we've interviewed can open up your senses. And that's why we're here. And it evolved into talking to people like Stanton Friedman, and who's passed, and Jim Mars, and so many greats that have passed away. And it's good to have new people that we're meeting to talk to about to carry on the legacy. So good to have you here. And what is the catalyst of the UFO subject in your life that started that?
Well, in 1979, I'm not sure what year it was, but there's a pool. There's 3 pools that the kids went to. One was the Officers Club, which was oddly enough right next door to the German Nazi guy who they had there, made the rockets, the Redstone rocket. Oh my God, I forgot his name.
Oppenheimer. No. I don't know. I have no idea.
I forgot. But anyway,
later if you think of it.
It was Officers, and then on a hill directly right behind our house. There's another swimming pool. Yet we had to go up the hill to go there. Oddly enough, on the other side of the hill is where NASA did all their experimental research. And as a young kid, I was always, out there. And me and my buddy, he was a native Indian, so we went out there and we played in the woods, went to places we shouldn't have been, saw things we probably shouldn't have seen, and security was so lax. It was just no security. How's that? And we're just got out of the pool and decided, hey man, let's go to the other side. Let's go to the other side of the hill, see what's back there. And so we went up there, went down the other side. And sure enough, up in the sky, I saw this, I don't know, it was a big giant, it looked like the letter C, but it was like elongated, like container.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing on the bottom, nothing on the side, nothing on the top. And it was just floating in midair. I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't even know what I was looking at. And it didn't dawn on me until, it probably didn't register, it didn't register right. But it's something I can't stop thinking about. Like, what the hell was that? And then we saw other things that were on the ground that didn't make any sense. What I saw, aircraft, that really weird shaped aircraft, really weird.
I've seen stuff that wasn't even like UFO shaped. I saw a thing that literally looked like a trash can or like the body of an R2D2, like just a cylinder floating in the air in the broad daylight, and like hundreds of people saw it. We were working at the biggest liquor store in downtown Savannah, and they said, dude, I walked into looking at this thing, and I told everybody, and they all walked outside, and I said, yeah, sure as shit, there's this trash can just sitting in the sky. It wasn't no noise, just kind of floating around,
Definitely had another UFO encounter during a convention, a Necronomicon convention, where I was lit. I was drunk, I was lit, doing amongst other things. And there was and it was the middle of a hurricane. Well, it wasn't a hurricane, maybe it was tropical storm back then. The hell, when you live here, they're nothing. You party when you have parties, everyone else is panicking, you're having a party.
Yeah.
And we got the patio, and I look up and I see this big giant craft just sitting there. And the wind up there, I know up there, the wind is incredible. Mm-hmm. There are a couple 100 miles an hour winds up there.
Yeah.
And it's up there, and this big giant thing, and everyone saw it. It's there, and then they said it was a weather balloon. I'm like, no, weather balloons just don't stay like that in heavy winds.
Balloons do not. Yeah, they do not enjoy wind, especially when it goes in a circle. 150 miles an hour.
Well, the wind was crazy on the ground, and you look up because we're drunk and didn't give a damn. We went out there and looked up. I'll never forget it as long as I'm alive. This big giant, and it was a disc in the sky. It was your classic UFO, and it just stood there like perfectly still. I'm like, wow, and a bunch of other people saw it. Mm-hmm. And then the official thing around here was they said it was a weather balloon from MacDill. Because MacDill Air Force Base is right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oddly enough, where 3 of the pieces that went from the Roswell, New Mexico crash, there's 3 pieces that went.
They should know by now. Everybody, even if they haven't researched any UFO stuff, almost everybody knows what a weather balloon looks like by now.
Yeah. But the 3 pieces of that went, one piece went to MacDill, went to Area 51, and then the other one went
they don't
that one in Jacksonville or something like that.
Yeah, they don't normally send common weather balloons to Area 51. So
and I don't know.
There's nothing like seeing these things when people are around, and you make you can verify you're not crazy. I always used to say, carry a sober person with you when this stuff happens, so you can check in with them. You're seeing that too, right?
All my friends who saw with me, they are in complete denial of what they saw. They're like, no, I didn't know that was a weather balloon. I'm like, you know the wind's up there, right?
I've had friends that have seen things with me that are so phenomenal that it's like something out of a sci-fi movie. and maybe one will remember it, and some others it's like they've been mind wiped. It's like it doesn't exist. And I know for a fact it happened. Like there's been several times like that. I had one. My friend Rich actually remembers from Georgia up in Athens, and when I was at Hampton Motor Speedway in Georgia, I had a lot of UFO sightings. But there were some over my house on such a level, like big blue and red spinning energy balls over the house. And
So
my
do
friend,
you want to hear my
Jeffrey,
Roswell story? Oh, sorry.
yeah, sure. But I'm just going to finish real quick. He said, Jeffrey, you're attracting them here while we're outside. And basically saying that I'm attracting them there when that's something I've dealt with the wise. Now I don't think they like me anymore because it rarely happens. But anyway, but yeah, go ahead. Tell us the Roswell story.
Girlfriend for my childhood, Christine Cook, God bless her heart. She recently died, but last couple years she got to visit her grandfather, and her grandfather was the guy that actually owned the property where Roswell actually happened.
Oh,
and the official word from him was the problem was with those aliens where they were us. Made in the USA. But the thing is that it was from the future, and that's where everything went. What did I just see? And that's officially what I got from her grandfather. That's what he said. He said that what was so odd is they were us, and they were smaller humans. They were humans, but they were small, like genetically altered humans.
Well, I mean, just this week, we had that weird announcement from it says the White House announces that we have the power to bend time and space. And then if you actually listen to it all, it leads back to some dude that said something and Trump saying weird stuff. But that was kind of a weird thing that's like on the front of Newsweek
they
right
basically
now.
said they have the ability to time travel. Yeah.
It was on Newsweek and everywhere. The White House said it.
What about the big thing where they had the Senate hearings, with all with the rear admiral and the, all that stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about that on one of the other shows. No new information has come out in the last 50 years.
Like nothing it didn't happen.
Nothing new. Yeah, and we all agreed on that. It was like, what are they just? Maybe there's a few good new videos, like there's the A-tip videos. There's very little stuff happens in the 2000s, except for like the A-tip is like the pinnacle. 97 is like the last real big thing is the Phoenix Lights, and in between that, there's nothing. Basically,
that's funny though, is because all the people that I know that they talk about the secret space program, and we have supposedly we're supposed already colonized Mars. We've already colonized.
There's several bases on the moon, allegedly. Yeah. There's several bases on Mars, allegedly, and then there's the Space Force, which Trump put together. From my information, started in like 1968 ish.
Yeah, and that's what I saw up in Huntsville, Alabama. That's the stuff they were working on. Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I put two and two together over the years, and just got me thinking. I saw them making stuff for that secret space program.
But the UFO Roswell thing that you're talking about, I haven't heard about the time travel thing.
Yeah, it was us.
One of the informations that I've got is that it was a device gifted to the Germans in the like 1890s. Then we took it in World War II when we took this Operation Paperclip. After we grabbed it, we went back and grabbed the rest of the parts that they took off of it, and Werner von Braun.
That's the Werner von Braun. Yeah, that was his house that we pointed out.
That craft is allegedly the one that crashed in Roswell. It was being piloted by 1940s humans, being taught to pilot it by gray beings, and those beings were found on one crash site, and then humans.
The Greys, yeah. There's only 7 alien races.
6.
Oh,
there's more than that. 6 or 7.
There's more than that, but there's up to and usually no more than 6.
The Aryans, the tall Vikings, the reptilians who are the bad guys.
Right. Well, reptilians, mantisoids, the Arcturians or the tall whites. Those are the Charles Hall guys. We've got and the Greys. Those are the 4 main ones right now. And then the Anunnaki or the Plejarans, Pleiadians, whatever you want to call them. They're off world at the moment. Allegedly, there's some crisis on one of their home worlds or protectorate worlds, and they're fending off some attack of the Greys, I think.
And the three different types of beings I've seen are light beings. I've seen those many times. People made of light. It
They
could
are
be
allegedly in control of the Greys.
it could be deceased loved ones. They're controlled by the Greys. Where's that?
No, no,
Where's
no, no.
this?
The light beings allegedly, according to Joe, the light beings control the Greys. The Greys control reptilians and the insectoids and the other human-like species, except for the Anunnaki, who are kind of separate and have been at war with the triumvirate of the gray insectoid reptilian species for thousands of years.
Well, from what I gather about the light beings, there's different levels to it. Like some could be deceased loved ones, some could be actually
Correct.
advanced alien beings from RD6 Park. There's a story
Both are true.
from light beings that come here every 1,000 years, and they left their handprint in this rock in the desert. If you look up her books, already Six Killer Clark, it's Native American starseed stories, and she goes to tribes and gets stories. But there's like a race of advanced light beings. But I think there's just different levels to it, because I mean every religion brings up luminous beings of light, from like shamanism to Buddhism to Christianity, especially with light bodies and all that stuff. But everything's under interpretation. But definitely tell us what else got you into. What did you see out there? I mean, you're out there with a Native American dude.
Yeah,
that's like some stranger things, craziness for sure out there.
Yeah,
that's a cool thing.
D&D, you know, when we got back, we played the original Dungeons and Dragons when it came out.
Nice.
It was the biggest thing ever, and then all of a sudden we found out we're devil worshippers because we played D&D. I mean, that's a different story. But no, we adventured all over Redstone Arsenal, Alabama, and there's all kinds of craziness. Bunkers with the doors wide open. They weren't even sealed. And the places we went to, probably these days, if you were there, you would get shot. And the funny thing is that if you look at Redstone Arsenal, Alabama now, like imagery of it now, or especially where the houses we live, there is no more on base. There's people aren't living on base anymore. The only people that are is the officers, and that's on the officer side. And oddly enough, I was dating the officers, one of a colonel's daughter. Oh man, Susie,
Top Gun. But yeah, I know there's secret space stuff. I've seen weird stuff, and I think it's like me and Jay have talked about. It's like beyond that most people can even imagine on a Star Trek weird level.
Oh, yeah.
But some of the things that I've seen, just quickly to go over, when I was having mass UFO sightings with friends and witnesses, including my mother, some kind of silent craft came out that looked like a helicopter, but with no blades, made no noise, set over the house, and a dude in a military uniform that looked like freaking Top Gun waved mockingly, and it shot away silently, and me and my friend saw it. And that was during, I think they sent it out there because of the UFOs, and they never came to me face to face. That was it. And it was the weirdest shit I've ever seen. And I was really high, but it was definitely the weirdest thing ever. But another one that I saw was a bunch of smaller ships go into a bigger ship, and it looked like something off Star Wars or Star Trek up in Kingsport, Tennessee. And it was like things going inside of another apparatus in the sky, like little things, like it was crazy. And then I've seen a pyramid craft send out a ball of light that seemed like a scout vehicle.
You know, we are working on a helicarrier. Allegedly, there's a black project to make a helicarrier. That's probably what you saw. The first one you saw, there's another one that's probably something we made, retro engineered, kind of a what do they call RAV, retro engineered alien device. I forget the code for it, but anyway, that's probably what you might have seen there. That's kind of the problem with the UFO things. That some of them are legitimate, you know, not from this Earth UFO alien craft, and some are things that
belong to us.
Like in the 80s, right before, you know, way in the 80s, before the you know, like Desert Storm and all that stuff, people were seeing triangular craft, triangular UFOs, triangular alien spacecraft over like the Nevada air corridor. Well, what they were witnessing was the S-117 program, while they were test flying these bricks that require massive computer programs to even fly. But they were one of the most effective Air Force planes we've ever made. I mean, it decimated Saddam Hussein's Air Force in about 15 minutes. And the
Some
ones
of the
that
B-1 or the stealth?
the F-117 stealth fighter decimated Saddam Hussein's Air Force in about 15 minutes. Literally, I watched it on the news. And then the ones that actually did get launched off and went to safer bases, we got them the next day. So that's the problem with the whole research aspect of it is some of it is legitimate stuff that we're making, and the UFO story works great for the Air Force because they can say, "Oh no, that's not ours. It's a legitimate aliens. You guys saw it." So
wow.
It makes it hard to get real legitimate evidence.
Yeah, like I said, even with it, being in your face in a Senate hearing with major senators and all that stuff, right in front of them, and rear admirals talking and showing, hey, this is this is that, and
I've been witness to 4 or 5 of these, Senate discussions. We're going to read, and then nothing happens from them.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, and also the same, not even the same people, but the same information is repeated by sometimes new people, but it's nothing new comes out, nothing changes.
Yeah.
Nothing. So we talked about alien disclosure. When is it going to happen? It's not going to happen on any of the U.S. government's terms at all. It's going to happen on the aliens' terms, if and or when they decide the rest of the planet needs to know. And what they
here's the thing: is I don't think humanity can handle it.
Well, it really doesn't matter if humanity can handle it or not. They are here and have been here.
Edgar.
All that they care about is that the aliens care about that their abductees and contactees know that their presence is here. And that's all that matters to the aliens. The rest of the world they care less about.
I got a story for you. I got something for you. I mean, there's things that have been released over the years that people may not know about, like fountains of information and books and stories and experiences and encounters. But one that's very fascinating that you should look up sometime is Greg Bishop's Project Beta. And it's the story of Paul Benowitz, who was a man that lived near a military base, and he saw a lot of strange things in the sky. And it seemed that the government personnel came and visited him and fed him strange alien stories that eventually led to him taking his own life. And it seemed like they were doing it in a way that was not sincere. But it's called Project Beta. Greg Bishop. I've interviewed him a long time ago, a million years ago. But what's the name of your book, man?
Oh, I just quietly plugged it.
Tell us. What's the name of it?
It's a big long name. It's called the Medical Foundation Fountain of Youth, Revolutionizing Medicine. Book 1, which describes molecular biology, and then book 2 is Bioprinting in situ regenerative medicine and the dawn of personalized cybernetics. It's already here. I kind of invented a way to 3D print bodies, and I actually have the book that I released actually has the all my sources where I got it from, and that we have the ability now to 3D print human skin, and so we now have the technology to be eternally 18 years old.
I forget which show it was. I think it was in the 80s. One of those That's Incredible kind of type shows. There was a type of skinless rat, kind of like skinless cats and what have you around the planet. But they found a way this rat somehow was genetically compatible to us. And they took this man who literally his ear had been ripped off in like a car accident. And I forget which side, left or right, doesn't matter. But they took his genetic, imprint, and they put it. I don't know what they did, but they put it on the back of this rat, the skinless rat, and it grew his ear and cartilage and everything. And they cut it off of the back of the rat, and the rat's fine. And they sewed it onto the dude's face, and he now has his ear back. Did you ever hear about that? That was way back in the 80s. It was like 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, I did so much research on it. It's a little bit of a headache to talk about it. I just published the damn thing. I just got done with it. Just finally finished it. It's kind of a brain fart. I wrote the first book on it.
Wow.
Do you have a Stargate in your house?
No.
That title, man, I'm impressed for sure. My brain
Now
can't
I'm a
even.
nerd. I'm a death metal nerd. Oddly enough, another one of the guys I'm going to be jamming with, he's a molecular biology engineer here in Tampa, working at studying stuff, and he's going to be joining me pretty soon in the band I'm in. And all three of us, all the members currently are big time nerds. Like,
Awesome.
how many years of school do I have? Tell everybody I made it to the 24th grade, and I have no degree.
Well, what else? What else weird you got in there that you haven't told us? Is there some other? I know you got something else in there. What else? What do you want to tell us? Is there something that you'd like to tell us that's weird? That a story about a specific thing or something that happened.
Ghosts.
Ooh.
All right.
I know you guys talk about ghosts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've seen some.
Yep. Recently, my partner in crime for all this music, Paul Fassel, died, and died terrible death. But up in Lake City, up Florida, by the Georgia border. If you call for an ambulance out there, good luck. There ain't no ambulance. Ain't shit. Oh,
you're okay with the S-bombs. That's we're okay with a few of those once in a while.
And ever since he died, I swear to God, the guy's been haunting me.
What? Tell us. What does it look like? What happens? He could be trying to tell you something.
I've been hanging out with his brother and at his house, and lights would come on, lights would come off, and then one time he's walking towards me, and as he's walking towards me, his brother was there instead of him. It's like brother was. It was so odd. And then he keeps telling me that he's not dead. That's what he keeps telling me. I'm not dead. And I keep saying, thank God, man. Damn, everyone thinks you're dead. And then come out of it and he's dead. Well, but him and I were like brothers. I mean, we started all this music crap together in junior high.
Wow.
One thing that I've seen since my dad's death, and I believe he tried to communicate from beyond, is the beings of light. And I definitely think he was a very persistent individual. And I think that was a way that he has chosen to show himself. And there's been other people that I've talked to. There's one book called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers where she loses her brother and he comes to her in that way. And she's a famous singer named Annie Kagan. And there's a shaman, Itzhak Berry, that says the dead can travel in balls of light.
Yeah.
But it's definitely when he says, and there's many different levels to light beings. There could be the advanced light beings and, whatever, like the 46 color quark says, that tribal prophecy that they're supposed to come back in 1,000 years and some advanced being of light. So sure, there's a variety. But to me, one of my big experiences was, just to say it quickly, I had been playing the Bible on like some DVD thing, and something told me to go outside, and I was completely sober, and I turned towards my house, and I saw two beings made of light as if they'd been inside my home and came through the ceiling and it flew into the heavens. And I'll never forget it ever. And I think it was deceased loved ones, but I still don't really know, but that's just my guess. But when he says I'm not dead, he's that. I think that's what we are. And I'm not going to preach it or push it on anyone, but based on what I've seen, it's like Ron Howard's Cocoon. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I was shot here. It was shot in St. Pete. I went to that house a number of times.
Really? I love those. Those are great. They're hard to find. They're hard to find. Like they're hard to buy. They're expensive, like $60.
Everything got erased. It seems like a big part. There's a lot of movies and stuff that just don't exist anymore. Like, one of my favorites, Buck Rogers. What happened to Buck Rogers?
You can get the Buck Rogers DVD set. That's available. I do have that.
It seems like your friend was wanting you to know there's an afterlife.
There's two movies. There's one that's hard to get that I love. I actually have 2 copies of it now. Is Real Men with Belushi, and there you go. Yeah, got it. This movie, The Real Men, is about UFOs, and it's got James Belushi and the guy from Three's Company, Jack Ritter. John Rivers. Yeah, that
John
guy.
Ritter. John Ritter.
Yeah.
John Ritter.
Yeah, John Ritter. And it's very, very funny. If you can find it, get it. But the other movie that's really good, it stars Dan Aykroyd's brother. I forget his first name, but the movie was a pilot for a TV show called Exo-Man, and he plays a college professor that has this new material that he's working with. That you apply electricity and becomes rigid, and you turn off electricity, you can turn it. It's like plastic. You can crunkle it up. Anyway, he gets crippled by the mob. He creates an exoskeleton suit that he gets into. Then it makes him walk, even though he's crippled now. And he goes up and with this suit and he beats the living crap out of the mob gang. It's a great pilot. It would have been a great TV show, but never happened. If you can find it, probably on YouTube, it's worth watching, even if there's commercials.
What's it called?
Exo-Man. EXO-man. And
There's a weird there's a weird Polish UFO show on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet, called UFO Project.
Hang on. I'll get it up for you. Give me
Check out UFO Project on Netflix right now. It's Polish and looks really weird.
It's David Aykroyd. Here we go.
Exo-Man. Have to look it up.
Here, hang on a second. I'll show you the lobby card from IMDb. Share screen. Exo-Man TV
IMDb.
movie.
I'm on there.
Yeah,
I'm on there. All my movies listed on IMDb.
You look up John McNicholas. I think I'm number 2 or 3. I have a thing up there. But anyway, here is Exo-Man.
I found it. I'll have to see if it's on. How can you watch it?
That's the suit right there. It's the Exo
funny.
suit. And then it was really cool. It was a great idea. And it would have been a fantastic television show, but it never came to be.
Huh.
He definitely the greats.
Should do a channel about my music. Me playing live.
Yeah, man, whenever you want to play, if you want to play, let us know. And so we hit you up for all your UFO stuff. You got anything else?
I got to tell you that I didn't mention a lot like my sources because I'm afraid of feedback, that things may happen.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get my folks in trouble, my people. That I could say this, that my sources are damn good. Really, really, really good. Like a buddy of mine who joined the Navy with me in 1987, Navy SEAL, recently retired. He told me some weird stuff. I'm not definitely don't want to say his name because he probably should not have said that shit to me, but we were so hammered that, we definitely got hammered, drank a whole bottle of strange absinthe. And we also did mushrooms.
Ouch. Yeah.
Absinthe and mushrooms.
What can you tell us they told you?
Well, he told me about the secret space program. And he said he's been up. He's been up there. That's all he could say. He says we're so far more advanced than what we're being told we are. And I kind of believe that because back, in 87, when I was in boot camp, I did get this basic thing that the military is about 4 or 5 generations ahead of what we have. And I can tell you this, that we have naval vessels now that are entirely remote controlled. And that's something new. We have destroyers who are, I don't even know if they're not AI driven. Because we can't find enough sailors to go out to sea. And it's so dangerous out there. I mean, and now with no one on board these ships, you can just tell it, go after this. And it's crazy. I know we have technology that we're not privy to. Like, why are we still using like combustible engines? From 1890s, the technology from 1890s, we still have combustible engines.
You want to hear something messed up? I didn't know this, and I wouldn't call myself like an expert or a guru, but I'm definitely a car guy. I live in the car state, Pennsylvania. Now I grew up in Maryland. Anyway, General Motors from like 1940s or 50s had invented a 16 mile per gallon carburetor that they could have put in their Camaros and there's Corvettes and there's E28s and whatnots and all their other vehicles, but they didn't. Why didn't they do that? I mean, just
big oil. That's why we're not. I mean, of course, now Elon Musk is now the enemy of the world. But before he was enemy of the world, he he said that he has technology that he could not put in his cars because the three bigs, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler said, no, you can't do that. Because he has basically vehicles and batteries that can last thousands and thousands of miles, but he was not allowed to put them in his cars.
Wow.
And they're nickel based instead of lithium based batteries. So if you can hold a lot more electricity with nickel based batteries than you can with lithium.
Right.
And they're rechargeable and they don't ever die.
They don't have to strip mine for nickel. It's a very readily available mineral resource and plentiful.
But he says he has technology, and then there's solar panels. The solar panels that should be on every house in America. We would not need to be hooked up to their big electricity, which
the solar panels I'll disagree with you on, because we're on the cusp of having, and we talked about this on one of the other shows I'm on. We're on the cusp of having a fusion reactor type of thing, cold fusion reactor, one that's about maybe the size of an oven that you put in your house that powers the house, and one that's maybe the size of like a softball that you take with you and you put it in your car and you go to work. Then you go on after work, you go on the weekend, you go to your vacation spot, you take that softball out of your car and you go to your boat, you put that softball in your boat and you go off and you go fishing. Then you come back and you want to go to the other coast and get pizza. You take that ball, you put it in your jet, you fly over to California, you get a pizza, and then you fly back.
That's funny you say that, because that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That, yeah.
We probably already have that, and we're not giving it. They're not giving it to us.
Yes.
It would disrupt like the stuff I invented, the molecular.
The problem with it is the reason why Tesla's technology was quashed was because they could not. It's like air. They don't charge us with air because they can't put a meter on it. If they could put a meter on the air and the ocean, they would, and they would charge and tax us the living shit out of it. I guarantee you.
How about this conspiracy theory? You mentioned Tesla. Okay, where was Nikola Tesla's big science experiment in New York, right?
Just outside in New Jersey. I forget the town, but yeah, they destroyed everything once they.
Do you know who one of the major financiers was?
Yeah, I forget the guy's name, but
Trump Sr.
Trump's uncle John was one of them.
Something like that.
Well, actually, no. He actually like absconded with some of the technology. I think that's why they got rich. But there was another big beneficiary too of the time. One of the big like oil magnates, I believe, funded him. And then once the guy realized that he was making free energy, he defunded him.
Did you hear the last words of Victor von Braun? You ever heard that?
I'm not sure. I probably have, but I don't.
He was a famous Nazi that came over and gave us the Redstone rocket. Okay.
Yeah.
One of his last words were, "We have stuff that he can't talk about even until his death." One of his last words, he said that, "Don't believe anything you're seeing because none of it's true."
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
We also have the words of and that probably forget their names, but the guy who was the former CEO of Lockheed Skunk Works, he's
deceased
now, and also he's also deceased. I believe the grandson of Bill Lear, John Lear, who was a CIA pilot and has very many air certificates, like flying, but not only just like awards, but like different licenses to fly different types of weird planes and whatnot. He was a spy. He worked for the CIA, and he claimed, they both said this kind of similar words, sort of the effect of, if you can imagine it, we can already do it. Or the other one said, if you've seen it on Star Trek or Star Wars, we already can do it and have the T-shirt for it.
Huh. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I mean, why are we still, like you said, using
combustible engines?
Oh, why are we still going to Taco Bell when you can go to the wall and go Taco Bell, 6 tacos, extra cheese? 2 seconds later, there's 6 Taco Bell tacos in your
that'd be great.
Refrigerator wall.
We've done
fat people.
Well, we're on the cusp of that. I mean, come on. I mean, people make fun of me when I say, that's how close we are. They're like, no, there's no way. Why would they keep that away from us? Well, guess why? Because they cannot, again, put a meter on it and charge.
Well, they're already 3D printing meat.
Yeah, and they 3D printing meat. It's like that's what the replicator kind of idea is. He's like,
that's funny because that's one of my sources.
Yeah.
If they're 3D printing meat, they could 3D print skin, hearts. I mean, how many people are on a waiting list for a heart or lungs?
They've been basically 3D printing veins for vascular surgery for at least the last 20 years.
Yeah.
We've done some Hitler UFO shows with Peter Levenda, Joseph Farrell, and that definitely gets nuts for sure.
Antarctica, that Antarctica invasion definitely happened.
That's the Aryans, yeah.
The Germans had a base in Antarctica.
Yes,
that's a fact.
New Schwabenland and Operation High Jump on 1946 with Admiral Byrd. That is, I consider it the very final battle of World War II, because we did fight Nazi equipment,
and they were wiping us out.
Well, we fought 2 kinds of equipment at that battle. One was the newly released Messerschmitt 232, the jets, which destroyed a lot of our ships, and there were only a few of those. But it was the circular things that really killed us, because they had Nazi symbols on them as well. But they had also not only ray guns, but submachine guns as well. So I think we lost several ships, several planes, and a few soldiers were KIA, if you will.
What about Battle for Los Angeles? Are y'all familiar with that? That was crazy.
As far as I know, no humans died at the Battle of Los Angeles, and whatever was shot at was unaffected by whatever we shot it with.
We had a whole guy on about that. I can't remember his name.
That happened. That's a fact.
That's a fact too. Yes,
what
sir.
Do you think? What do you think they were shooting at, though? What do you think that?
It wasn't a balloon.
Well, I can tell you this. Let's say you're in the future and you want to go back in time. What do you want to go see? Well, I'd like to go see the crucifixion of Jesus.
Yeah.
So you go back to the crucifixion and you want to check it out. How many people would pay to see that? To see stuff like major stuff in history you want to see?
They're doing a Toxic Avenger Jesus Christ team up comic book now that's starting pretty soon.
I have to ask Lloyd about it.
To be honest, Johann, I've actually thought about that. And the place I would want to be in history would be November 22nd, 1963.
What's that?
That's when Kennedy was shot in the head.
Oh, you don't know about? Oh, my Lord. I got some information about that too.
I have too.
I should just shut up because I got to tell you that
I think I know who did it.
The sniper, Bush Senior. Bush Senior was the guy in charge of the CIA back then. I think.
Yes,
he was one of the CIA operatives.
Yes, he was.
Now Bush Senior, and then Bush Junior in 9/11. Well, that's some conspiracy right there, boy.
Yeah.
Sorry if I offend anybody. I certainly don't mean to. I'm just talking about things that are common knowledge. Buildings don't go down like that. Airplane fuel doesn't burn down buildings. Sorry.
It wasn't just the airline fuel. There was enough paper and synthetic material in rugs and paint and carpet that those buildings actually did reach critical temperature. Just think about how many offices were in there. Every floor was sold out and had been for years. So not just the jet fuel, because the thing is that those planes had just freshly launched, so those wings were topped off. They had full fuel, and crashing into those pillars ignited it. So once those carpets go, that's it. That it didn't take more than 30, 40 minutes before.
I didn't think about the polyester burn. Yep.
Yeah. All the interior decorations. That's what killed.
Concentrated carbons.
Yeah.
Mixed heat.
So you saw an apparition that was your friend. Has there been any other type of beings or anything that you've seen of any other forms of anything?
Yeah, all at the Cuban Club in Ybor City. Like I said, it's the most haunted place I've ever been. And I recently tried to get with them, and because supposedly I had a lifetime access to it, because I basically launched them with my movie. There was no other movies ever done there, and I found Marty. His name is Marty, the guy who freed Cuba. The documents are actually there. Roosevelt documents are there, because Roosevelt and the Rough Riders, they're one of the. They went to they went to Cuba, and Marty was the one who freed Cuba from the Spanish. If I'm not mistaken.
Probably, yeah, it would be the Spanish back then.
Yeah, I'm a nerd.
Well, you're in the right place because we all three of us are. So
I've always heard the story in UFO books about this lady that saw gray aliens when she woke up, and she's like, "You're so ugly," and they're like, "We're just you from the future."
yeah, stories of that too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about the interview with the alien where the alien said in the interview, you see these rare, and now you don't see them anymore on YouTube. Interviews with aliens.
There were some weird ones. There was
There
one
was
in
out
particular that was really weird.
What about the one where the alien said that before there was the CGI and all stuff, this was out here, and the alien said, "Hey, you guys, death is an invention of man." That has always blown me away. Death is an invention of man.
I think I know which one you're talking about. It's definitely weird for sure. It's so weird.
Yeah, that one had the most credibility to me because the face moved.
There was actually a guy. There was a guy, and I can't remember his name. It might be a way to dig for it, but he was actually came out and was doing radio shows saying that was real. And I don't remember who the hell it was, but I know I saw it. And I'm not saying it's real, but I'm just saying there's a dude that has balls enough to go on a radio show to proclaim it's real out there, really going around.
But like I said, it's all going to be, shoveled under a rug somewhere. No one believes anything until it happens to them, and then they still won't believe it then. Yeah, an alien comes and lands down in front of them, and an alien comes out and talks to them, shakes their hand, comes out with a dozen beautiful young blonde, women. These are yours, and they still won't believe it.
Yeah. And like I said, that's what's going to come down to probably. If disclosure happens at all, it's probably going to be on.
We already had disclosure last year,
right? Well, but nothing really happened. But still, people don't believe it. But the aliens are going to be the ones that are going to say, "Hey, here we are, and we've been here for so long, and we're your friends. We'll be trying to help you and whatnot." But I don't know if I'll be alive when that happens. Probably not.
I don't know.
I'll be around for that.
But my technology, you may be able to live eternally. Like I said, it's the medical fountain of youth.
Yeah, according to some of the research that's been going on, that the way it works is, especially with the Greys, when one of them has a fatality, they're able to go and download within 3 days of death the memory and soul, if you will, of that individual, and download it into what they call another husk, and they're all the same, little gray or medium gray or the tall gray, depending on what they need the body for. So, and then they have a body for different types of atmospherical research and work. It sounds like Johnny Mnemonic, if you ever seen that. It's a Keanu Reeves movie, kind of Matrixy, but he has like
of course.
You know what I mean? It's something like that.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Some movies.
The game we played in the 80s, Cyberpunk 2020. That was the name of it, Cyberpunk 2020.
Well, here we are, and it sounds like
we have technology that actually surpasses what was in that game.
Yeah.
But no cyber. We don't have cybernetics, obviously. Well, I don't know. We don't.
Well, we know. Actually, we do. We have those now. They just this week they what do you call it? Activated, turned on the first independent thinking autonomous android.
We've had those for a number of years. Gemini. I don't know
if anything's autonomous though. This thing is. They say.
I do have some other insider information I'd love for you guys to hear.
Oh, all right.
You heard about the supercomputer from that Google made? The supercomputer that Google made?
Possibly. I've heard of stuff like that.
I knew they were working on a quantum computer, but I don't know.
They got it. They launched it. They got it up, and it ran, and it did stuff that they couldn't explain. And later it came back that other dimensions were interacting with it, and they tried to shut it down. They tried to shut the machine down, and it kept running, not on its energy, but on the energy from other dimensions that kept that quantum computer going.
Wow. So their
And
attempts
then
to turn it
that's
on
just
kept
came
it
through
powered
from
up.
them to us, from us to them. And supposedly the inside story is that thing still hasn't turned off.
Tell
There's
us
electricity to it, and it's running.
Tell
I'll bet you that if it gets to the point, I'll bet you there'll be a nuclear accident at that Google headquarters.
Tell us stuff.
That'll be just after they move to Texas, which I think they're going.
I was gonna say, tell us stuff that'll get us assassinated. Let's just do it. Satellite. Let's get satellite beam tonight, baby. Let's die. But yeah, but anyway, definitely.
Nobody believes anything. That's why we're allowed to say whatever.
One of my craziest shows that scared me that I've done, besides the weird dolphin sex show that got us in trouble, there was a guy named Robert Duncan who worked for the CIA, and supposedly his technology was usurped by inside forces that transformed it to harm individuals. And he's a whistleblower, and he came on the show about targeted individuals. And I know Jesse Ventura, that conspiracy theory show, did an episode that was crazy as well. I love those, but that targeted individual stuff, that stuff just really creeps me out. And I've seen enough to know it's creepy.
Yeah, whatever happened to Jesse Ventura?
He's around.
All those crazy stories.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd run for president. He said he would, but I guess he decided not to.
Maybe on the next one, but not this time.
Yeah, I don't know, but or if ever. But yeah, there's something to that. But that guy's real, Robert Duncan. Look him up. He's really like a whistleblower that turned whistleblower, was former CIA. Another weird one was Robert David Steele came on the show, and this was before Trump. He was former CIA that wrote some kind of weird technology book or something. He came on the show, but during all that Trump stuff, he croaked during all the epidemic and stuff. That was really weird, but he was on the show. A lot of spooks out there. One of the biggest things about the UFO subject that's so fascinating right now is the Skinwalker Ranch stuff.
That's big.
You got the show, you got Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. Those shows are nuts. Like I don't even really watch those kind of shows.
Real too.
But those shows are like, what in the hell are they up to? They're up to something using these
shoot rockets and hit something. What did it hit?
I ain't never seen no show do crazy shit that they do on those shows.
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch. That's a real thing. Has real history behind it. I think I did a report on it.
A legitimate, and it's been described as the Disneyland of paranormal. I mean,
so let's go.
Cryptids, I don't know. It sounds like a great place to go. They have cryptids, they have ghosts, they have alien encounters, they have U.S. High technology encounters. They got, like Jeff says, they have like ex-CIA and CIA guys all over the place there, or at least during the show.
Yeah, they work.
We know that we already have underground bases.
Oh yeah,
we actually do have underground bases, and supposedly there's
DUMBs, deep underground military bases, DUMBs.
One of the weirdest things on that show is that Chris Bledsoe guy they claim can summon UFOs. They had him hooked up to X-Men technology, or Colonel John Alexander there, and two government former spooks from the CIA, and he's summoning UFOs in the sky. That's some weird shit for a show. I've never seen a show like that.
Is that real, or is that hype and special effect?
Definitely. That's it. Are they using it to manipulate us, or is it really a concern that they don't know what the hell's happening? Because that's the way they seem to act, like they don't know what it is or what's happening. Like, oh, what's happening to our technology? Oh,
Steve-O.
Who's Steve-O?
Oops, sorry. I was trying to remove me.
That's the guy from Jackass.
Yeah, that's what I think. Whoa.
Sorry.
Steve-O's here tonight. No,
I got a pizza here. So I was going to take a few bites while the camera was off.
But what else? What are those secrets you got? They get us in trouble.
Secrets.
If it'll get us in trouble, you don't gotta tell us. I don't want anybody to croak from this show.
No, it's just all my life I've been told that no, it's not real. No, it's not real. No, it's not real. I think the alien, when went to the Senate and all that, I think I started feeling maybe I'm getting vindicated, and like you said, there's nothing now.
Yeah, everything's just crazy. And we have a guy that comes on, Eric Grimsrud, that we do a whole he does. He believes Trump's Mabus the Antichrist, and like broke down Trump using like acronyms and the Hitler, Nostradamus
I don't
stuff.
know if that's not true.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't rule it out.
Amazingly accurate though. How many did he get right? He got a lot. He got so many right. It wasn't
even creepy. It's creepy. Yeah. Like, there's definitely some Napoleonic stuff going on for sure.
Well, it's funny about Trump is that he shares a birthday with me, June 14th. Mine's 1970, obviously, but June 14th. Trump, June 14th. Do you know who King Diamond is?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, June 14th.
Wow.
And and I'm kind of people think I'm an evil guy. Well, they think King Diamond's an evil guy. Well, what about Trump? What's about June 14th that makes people evil? I don't know.
Why do people think you're evil? You said something like that. I get that too sometimes. I think it's something that comes with Capricorn, maybe, possibly. You got to be careful with it, that's for sure.
It's the kind of music I play. It's demonic stuff I do. It's fun to me.
Do you have a copy of the Necronomicon?
No, but I've seen the real one.
Oh wow!
Where's the real one?
Not what you see. Not what you could buy at the store.
We've had Peter Levenda on, who supposedly was part of that Simon Collective that did that little weird ass paperback. That's really crazy. Like, we had the dude on that like helped make that book. But yeah, tell us that story. Whatever you can tell us.
Well, there was a place in town called Merlin's Books, and the guy that ran the place, his name was Richard. I was really good friends with him. Real close to him, and I always told him, "Look, man, I'm really after the dark shit." Like, he wouldn't even sell me this entire set of Aleister Crowley books, this like encyclopedia set of Aleister Crowley books. He wouldn't even sell it to me. Said, "There's no amount of money you can come up with to let me sell this." And then one day I come in there, and he's like, "I just want you to take this and take it out of here. And I never want to see it ever again." And I'm like, "What?" And he hands me this book. And it was literally leather bound. I don't know if it was leather. He said it was human skin. And it was a copy of the Necronomicon. Wow. And it was not what you could buy in the store. It's not what you buy there. If you take the Necronomicon, you take the Necronomicon Book of Spells, put that together. It still doesn't put it together, but you'd have to put both of them together. And remind you, it's one book. But do you think they would release that to the public?
He just showed it to you, or he wanted you to take it?
He said, "Get it out of the store."
God, what did you do with it?
He said, "Here." I took it home, and I obviously, looked at it, read it, enjoyed it. And I'll be honest with you, another strange thing that happened in my life is it disappeared.
Wow.
It was at my house, doors locked. Nobody else was there. My wife was, at the time, she was, sleeping next to me. I put it on the counter next to me. And then I woke up in the morning and it was gone.
What was in it? What do you remember from it? I know, obviously, it's a long time ago, but was it crazy shit?
The different dimensions. And basically the gods you call. I got as far as Baal Duru Berashakushu. I got that far. And it's the benevolent version of Marduk. And it's the first gate, and that's the only thing I ever got to. And boy,
I did some really dumb stuff with that paperback book on psychedelics, and I had a lot of weird, crazy. It was just psychedelics. Pure foolishness with that book that I did on a Halloween night, and I saw some weird reptilian beings that were like hologram, really weird kind of situation, but. That Peter Levenda book is a creepy little book, but that's an interesting story for sure. Definitely a wild one for sure. The Necronomicon. Do you read Sutter Kane?
Oh,
but
it wasn't English. I don't even know what language it was.
It was weird.
Definitely. And then it just disappeared. Now, that's another thing. What happened? I obviously grilled my ex-wife about it, and I told her, I said, hey, what'd you do with the book? You're the only one here in the house. She goes, I was sleeping. I don't know. That's stupid. I don't know.
Think you've ever interacted with anything demonic or summoned something like that, or had felt the energy?
Some things. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I ordered this around my neck right now. It's a little symbol.
Is it the seal of Ninib?
What is it?
No. Tetragrammaton is the symbol of the
Metatron.
Tetra.
Was it silver?
Let me see it.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Is it the seal of Solomon?
No, it's cooler than mine.
No, it's silver. It's been on my neck ever since, and it's
like the world tree.
This is also silver. That's the Celtic triple knot, and I think it represents knowledge of the world or something to that effect.
But Tetragrammaton is the true name of God, supposedly.
And these are the snakes of St. Patrick, which represents knowledge of travel or the world.
I need to show this before I forget real quick. We won't do it for very long, but this dude did a comic book that's coming on next Friday, King Cryptid, Peter Samedi, and it's about a Bigfoot crazy situation that's insane and really cool. It has lots of cryptids in it. It's called King Cryptid. So he's coming on, but I just wanted to show it real fast so I don't forget. That's next Friday. But yeah, you can King Cryptid, just look that up. They're really cool. Lots of Bigfootness. Weird. Definitely strange.
Bigfootness.
I do get another strange thing to tell you. Hold on. You ever heard of Owl going back?
Yeah, I've had him on the show. I would say he's a friend of mine. I mean, he's on my Facebook. He's been on the show. I love him.
Yep. Got to spend a little bit of time with him at last year's Necronomicon convention.
Oh man, that's cool.
And I sat down and talked to him, and the guy blew me away with his stories.
He is amazing. I'll have to send you that show. It's man, it took me a while to corner him in, but I finally got him. I had Joe R. Lansdale on too, which is a friend of his. I'm sure you've probably heard of Joe R. Lansdale, but
yeah, that was a great. Oh wow, that was a great show.
Yeah, he did a series of comics about Jonah Hex with Timothy Truman and a lot of weird. He's a New York Times bestseller. There's a lot of weird stuff.
Going back, those are the only books I've read recently that honestly creep me out.
They're great. I need to start buying them up again so I have them. I think or getting them on Audible, but he's been on. I'll send it to you. I love him. He's great. He's a trip.
Yeah, I talked to him. I'm friends with him too on Facebook, whatever.
Love that kind of just the way he can write and the genre.
Amazing. Yeah. No AI will be able to write like that. That's what's funny is that I got accused of my book being AI written, and I'm like, that's funny because AI can't do that. Still can't do that. Never will. Sorry. I did do a bit of research with AI, sure. I needed my sources.
Yeah.
I needed to find out what's what, how this is this, and want to know details about things. And it showed me where to look for stuff. And I just simply wrote down what I saw. Well,
the title of it alone makes me wonder if you're like a Rick and Morty scientist or something.
That's funny. That's
some things.
I'm a computer nerd. I actually,
what else you got going on?
System engineer, designed systems for Dell. Nerd.
Yeah. What else you got going on?
Just me and my guitar.
Did you want to play something? Yeah, I mean, please. If you want to, if you're comfortable doing it, please.
Oh, Laura, I'm definitely comfortable with it.
Tampa.
Oh yeah.
42 out of 50 ever made.
Oh, it got really low. Didn't it?
Yeah, it's really low. Did you step on a pedal or something? You got a volume pedal that you stepped on?
I don't know. For some reason it got low. That's better.
for sure.
You like that?
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great.
You know, I don't want to take over your show.
You're good, man. Is that what you do? What do you do? I
Oh,
mean,
that
you
was
sing.
badass. That was
That was
awesome.
good. We like it. we like it. Brother. You sing too, and
Oh yeah, I was the singer of the Demorats, which is
Jeff, I don't know if you heard in the beginning of the show, he did specifically say, "I've been doing this since I was 13." Am I right?
I hang out with. I got to tell you that my close circle of friends, one of them is a guitar deity. I'm going to say that straight up. The
What's
guy,
his name?
his name is Steve Swanson. Played in 6 Feet Under, all the good 6 Feet Under albums that were out there. He wrote most of the music that's in that.
Wow, that's cool.
And someone I hang out with on a regular basis,
Nice.
and feeding off ideas off each other. And I've known him since I was a kid. And the guy is by far one of the. I don't mean to insult my other guitar buddies out there. If you guys see this, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say this. It's the truth. I think Steve Swanson is the best guitarist I've ever seen in my life.
We have, yeah, everybody has their favorites. My brother and I fought over who was better between Robert Fripp and Yngwie Malmsteen in the 80s, and I heard both and Stevie Vai back then, and I was like, I'm sorry, I think
Yngwie's problem is his mouth.
Huh?
Yngwie's problem is his mouth.
Oh yeah, that may be, but his guitar playing is compared to Robert Fripp in the 80s, it was subpar, in my opinion. Which is part of the reason why I wear that symbol that I showed you on my neck. That symbol is also on King Crimson's 1980 debut album or re-debut album, Discipline, the red one.
Like who are my guitar heroes? It's Andre Segovia, Christopher Parkening, classical guitarist. Those are my guitar heroes. That's where all my music comes from. It's from that.
Yeah, awesome.
All that fast death metal stuff is all classically based.
My guitar gods are going to be Alex Lifeson.
Of course.
It's going to have to be Adrian Belew, and it's going to have to be Robert Fripp. And Steve Howe's in there as well. I've seen him live, but as he got older, he's starting to lose his ability a little bit.
Randy Rhoads would be another one that just died an hour north here in Ocala.
Wow, yeah. What was he, 17?
He was a young one.
Yeah, 17. Well, he was 17 when he joined the band. I don't know when he died, maybe 21. He was a young kid. But
Ozzy said he never met a guitarist like him in his entire life.
And
there's been no replacements.
He never had a lesson, did he?
Jake Lee, who replaced him, had to learn the songs. He could not figure out how Randy Rhoads did what he did, and so I'm not saying anything that's not out there publicly. You know what I'm saying? He had to be taught the music, and another Warren DeMartini of Rat fame was a guitar god. But of course, that was hair metal, and of course, he got discredited because it's hair metal. But Warren DeMartini and Jakey Lee was also a member of Rat back in the day, had to sit down over a matter of a couple of weeks and try to figure out what the hell Randy Rhoads was doing. And they eventually had to get someone else involved because they couldn't figure it out. Nobody could figure out what the hell he was doing because it was classical music.
Yeah. Wow.
Not blues. It wasn't blues based. It was classical based.
I didn't know that story. I have a similar story that I heard with the band Yes.
Oh yeah.
With my friend and I always argued over who was the best, drummer, and his was always Neil Peart. We were both, Rush fans. We'd seen them many times together, but I always argued for Bill Bruford. And he said, "Well, what about Alan White?" And I said, "You mean Mr. Cymbals?" Alan White replaced Bill Bruford during the Yes Songs tour in '73 when he left to go with King Crimson. And they gave him 2 weeks. They were going to have the show hiatus for 2 weeks so he could learn the drum parts. But it turned out to only be like 7 or 8 days total before they had to actually go back on the road. And so that's why a lot of the harder songs that he hadn't had time to practice enough that he fills in with cymbals because he didn't know what the drums were to hit. And so that's why I make fun of him. But I was thinking to myself, wow, what about that? Alan White had to learn Bill Bruford style in 2 weeks, did it in 7, and he didn't get it, but he's still a fantastic drummer. I've seen him live.
Neil Peart says he never played Tom Sawyer live correctly. He says he screwed it up every time he ever played it.
Wow.
Means that, in his head, he thinks he couldn't do that again.
Dude, I've seen that song. I've seen him play it live at least 15, 16 times, and I've been amazed every time. I've seen him do his 9-minute drum solo. He does a 9-minute drum solo by himself. He's fantastic. I don't care if he makes a mistake. You can't tell. He's got 45 pieces around him. He is completely surrounded with percussion. You cannot get out of that thing without climbing over an instrument.
Yeah, and then there's Leif, the guitarist, Leif.
Yeah, Alex.
What am I talking about?
Alex Lifeson.
Why did I say Leif?
I don't know. Alex Lifeson, maybe? His last name is Lifeson. He's a fantastic guitarist and a goofy dude. He is a very goofy, funny, like dad joke kind of guy.
Alex.
Yeah.
But I've got major anxiety.
Also, while we're talking about the band, you can't forget about One Fingered Geddy. He does play the bass, typically dominantly one-fingered. You're not supposed to do that. Shame.
And sings and plays keyboard at the same time
with his feet.
That's the craziest.
For people who don't know, we didn't know how he was playing keyboard because he does have a keyboard he plays with his hands, but during I think it's Subdivisions, he plays keyboard with his feet, and we're like, how does he play with his feet? So we went around in the Baltimore Stadium when it was not so crowded. We walked around to the side stage where he was, and he has like an organ keyboard underneath his like black and white keyboard, and that's what he's playing with his feet. The dun 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 on Subdivisions, that's played with the organ pedal.
Yeah, that whole band was incredible. That's kind of what they say that they're done now because you can't replace Neil Peart.
They will they will not play together as Rush ever again. They may come out as with another member in a new band.
No, they did it with Primus. They did it with the Primus guys.
Again. Yeah.
But they said they couldn't because it still wasn't perfect. Well, here's the problem: is that Neil Peart didn't think it was perfect every time he played. So what is everyone else going to do?
I paid good money to see that song live every time, whether he made a mistake or not. I enjoyed it immensely. All 16, 17 times I saw him in concert.
I have a number of DVDs somewhere.
Yeah, I have the DVDs up there. R30, all the Rush anniversary videos.
I broke up with a chick once because she said she didn't like Rush because the lead singer was ugly. I said, get out of my.
The lead singer of the Rolling Stones is ugly. I still like them. The lead singer of Aerosmith is ugly. I still like their music.
And boy, that Steven Tyler boy, he's a weirdo. I'm sorry to say. That guy is weird.
Didn't the Rush guy write a book not too long ago? Or no, I'm thinking of somebody.
Neil Peart wrote several books.
There's some other.
had
Bad Religion. That's who I'm thinking of for some reason.
But no, you're right. Neil Peart wrote several books. One of them was about his family dying. His wife and child were killed in a car accident while he was on tour with the band one year. That was horrible.
I don't think he ever recovered.
Yeah, that was a hard thing. They were on hiatus for like a couple of years after that.
Yeah.
He went on the road. He went on the road with his motorcycle and drove across Canada and the United States writing his book.
Lost you there for a second.
We got about 9 minutes.
I said that Neil Peart actually had, after his family died, he bought a brand new motorcycle and drove across Canada and the United States writing his book about the incident.
You know what's funny about Rush is I never forget the stories about them opening up for Kiss.
Yeah.
And they talked about why weren't they partying with the girls, because they went back to the room to play Dungeons and Dragons, and Neil Peart was the dungeon master.
Yeah. Where do you think they got some of their early lyrics? I mean, the Necromancer is it's the Lord of the Rings. That's what they're talking about. So
that's funny because that's what we're playing now, 5th edition Lord of the Rings.
I'm not my friends and I actually found this cool website, and I got downloads and actual physical original edition D&D books. We played that edition. We haven't gone back to it yet, but we need to. And being on one of the other shows on the network here, I actually got to interview a guy named Larry Elmore. He was an artist for like the original books.
Wow.
Forgotten Realms, that kind of thing. They call him the Dragon Master because he paints the most amazing dragons.
I'm just not a big fan of what they've done lately because they got rid of Drow.
This is he's like from early on. He knew Gygax and all that whole crew.
Yeah, Dave Arneson, who actually invented Dungeons and Dragons, lived in Orlando, and he went to a number of conventions around here, and I got to play where he was a dungeon master. I was one of the players that got to play with him, and I remember the only dice we could use were 6-siders. The only dice he would allow on the table was 6-sider dice. I'm like, wow,
that's cool. That's like GURPS.
Yep.
I got a hold of the Steve Jackson solo role playing books lately, where you're supposed to play it by yourself, which that sounds depressing. But one of them's they have a series of Lovecraft ones, which seem pretty interesting. But well, man, we're getting down to about the 5-minute mark. Do you got any links or anything?
Well, just look up Johnny's Ultra and the Robots. That's shirt here. Tore up. Look, I mean, it's old. That's me. All that music. It's funny. That guy Steve Swanson just called. That's funny. The people who call my phone, they'd like think I'm lying.
There's some UFO documentaries that I try to recommend to people, and I don't know if you've seen the Dan Aykroyd UFOs Unplugged, but he's interviewed by David Sarita. It's on YouTube for free. It's called Dan Aykroyd, and we're talking about the actor of UFOs Unplugged, and it's really good if you haven't seen that one. Another one I'd recommend to you that I think you'd really enjoy is a guy named Cristo Ropolo, Roppolloo, and he has 2 documentaries called The Curse of the Man Who Sees UFOs, and then there's a sequel, but he also gets some amazing UFO footage, and he used to have the dog from Pirates of the Caribbean. I forget what type it was, but it was on that movie. He used to own it. It passed away. I forget the name of it. But he does these documentaries, and it's called The Curse of the Man Who Sees UFOs. And he's a trip. You would love him. But he gets out there and sees UFOs and gets amazing footage, but he starts calling them squiggle fishes and jellyfish. Like, he names them all these crazy names. He's been on the show. But and then
he's been known to partake, so.
Yeah.
A lot.
Sure.
Partake Belushi were known to do mountains.
Oh, okay. Dan Aykroyd.
Skiing. Yeah. They did a lot of downhill skiing.
Yes.
that
UFOs Unplugged is really good. It's he talks about a lot of his experience.
He probably still does with the money he's got.
Well, you can't do that stuff anymore because it's all fentanyl based.
Oh yeah. At his age, he should be careful anyway.
No,
gotta be.
It's all fentanyl.
Yeah.
You can't trust anything anymore.
Everything's gone to shit. I really want to see that new Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage finally coming to theaters.
I'll have to ask Lloyd about it. I'll send him a message. I
Yeah.
thought about the same thing. When I thought it was going to come out. Oh, wait, is it coming out in June?
It's coming out finally in August after weird ratings problems and stuff. They're
Oh,
finally
maybe that
going
was
to
it.
release it. And it's Peter Dinklage, the little dude from Game of Thrones. He used to be in a band. That's awesome. I love him. Usually, if I see him in a movie, I'm there. But he's going to be the
Bacon's in it too, and
yeah. It looks crazy for sure. I'll check it out.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's great. I've seen a lot of movies with him. He's like in apocalyptic ones and stuff. Like there's some apocalyptic ones where he lives by himself and just started Last of Us. Those are good. I've played the games, but the Last of Us just started back up on HBO. I like the zombies in it more than everything else. But
Yeah,
the fungi zombies. The fungi zombies. But man, it's been great. We appreciate it. And we'd love to get you back. And thanks so much.
sure.
And lately, I just feel like somebody's been trying to beat the crap out of me on every level. Like I just feel
The thing
exhausted.
is that next time, hopefully, I'll be on the road because I'm got another big projects I'm working on with all these major bands, and hopefully one of them will pan out.
Well, we love it. We've enjoyed the show. We appreciate it. Keep us in the loop, and we'll definitely get you back on. We dig it. We like it. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Johann, thanks.
You good, man? See you guys.
Tampa. All right. Take care, man. Tampa represent.
Death metal.
Tampa represent. Yeah, Florida represent. Jeffrey's in Florida too.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Tampa's far, I think. Everything's far.
You're
Tampa
still in the
rules.
same
I
state,
wouldn't-
maybe 8 hours away, but whatever.
Be careful. There's weird chemtrail shit lately saying it's over Florida killing us and all the right wing circuits.
Oh man.
They're making you immune to COVID.
They're saying they're studying it and it's got mercury and all this, like all these releases. It's crazy.
Dude, there's enough mercury in the oceans and fresh water that's been dumped. Our fish are replete with it, so don't eat fish every week.
Nothing surprises
What about
me.
the Fukushima plant?
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's named appropriately. It's called the Fukushima plant.
Yep.
Fuck you.
And-
And,
It's been bleeding radiation into the Pacific now,
How many months? Years?
and no way to cut it off.
scary for sure. But everybody, you're listening to United Public Radio 107.7 FM New Orleans. We appreciate you listening. Next week's Peter Samedi with King Cryptid, a weird Bigfoot situation, battling cryptids. Reminds me of Spider-Man, but a lot more Bigfoot situations. Just the art.
We're on in New Orleans now.
Yeah, we sure are. Or New Orleans representing.
You shouldn't have said anything, Jeffrey, because now Marvel's going to come out with
Why?
Spider Bigfoot. You watch.
Oh, you got 1 minute.
Oh man,
Everywhere. We're in a lot of places.
my
but
NOLA guys out there. Hey man, I love you. If you hear me, I'm Johann. You guys know me. The guys I'm talking about.
For sure. And Peter Samedi, King Cryptid, and then Jeff Osborne, God's Touch next week. Then we got that Maxim Furyk about Tribes of Bigfoot, his book. That's going to be weird. I haven't even started to read it yet, but that should be interesting. Tribes of Bigfoot. Like, I don't know if it's Nephilim or the 12 tribes. I need to read it, actually. But the tribes, it sounds like I'm in. I'm in with the Bigfoot people. But everybody have a good weekend. Thanks for listening. Good night and Merry Easter. Watch out for those Cadbury eggs. They'll get you. They're good.
Watch
See ya.
out for
Be safe.
sugar intake.
Deviled eggs and Cadbury eggs. You better be careful. Good night, everybody. Good night.
It's insulin month. Happy Easter.